I'm here with your next chapter, The 100 Dresses, Part 1 by L. Bosser Esther. I've already introduced the chapter to all of you, but before we read this chapter, there are some questions which we are going to discover in the chapter. How do we judge the people around us? By their money, wealth, or possessions? Or is there something of more enduring values to look for in a person? Long lasting values. The story is a sensitive account of how a poor young girl is judged by her classmates. Wanda Petnosky is a young Polish girl who goes to the school with other American children in an American town. These other children, we see Wanda as different in many ways. I already told you, now her name was considered as funny, and she had a funny accent or awkward way of speaking. Can you guess how they treated her or how they treat her? Read the information. Now, it is given about their community. You will understand more about those people who lived in Poland, particular part of America. Okay. Now I'm going to read the story for all of you. Today, Monday, Wanda Petnosky was not in her seat, but nobody, not even Peggy and Mandolin, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Wanda sat in her seat next to the last seat in the last row in the room 13. Their classroom number is 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat, the corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet, most roar of laughter when anything funny was said, the most mud and dirt on the floor. Now, she was, not by choice, but she was sitting with all the boys who were not doing good work in the class. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. On the contrary, that means opposite to that, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all. And nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of a smile, not a very pretty or beautiful smile, but a very awkward, foolish smile. But that was all. Nobody knew exactly why Wanda sat in the seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Bergen Heights, and her feet were usually caked with dry mud. They were covered. She lived in Bergen Heights, I already told you, and that was not that locality with all the amenities. So it was a muddy road she used to travel across, and her boots were all covered or caked with dry mud. But no one really thought much about Wanda Petnosky once she sat in the corner of the room. The time when they thought about Wanda was outside of the school hours at the noon time when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before school began. Actually, you get opportunity to mingle or talk during the break time or before coming to the school or after the home bell, when the groups of the 2 or 3 or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the schoolyard. Then sometimes they waited for Wanda to have fun with her. They used to laugh at her, not laugh with her. The next day, Tuesday, Wanda was not in school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Mary, who sat down front, with other children who got good marks, who did not track in a whole lot of mud, did not notice that Wanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular girl in the class. She was pretty. She had many pretty clothes and her hair was curly. Maddie was her closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Wanda's absence was because Wanda had made them late to the school. They had waited for Wanda to have some fun with her. And they were waiting for her not to accompany her but to make fun of her, and she just hadn't come. They often waited for Wanda Petnosky to have fun with her. Wanda Petnosky, most of the children in the room 13 did not have names like that. In the beginning, they started with making fun of her name. They had names easy to say, like Thomas Smith Allen. There was one boy named Bounce and Willie Bounce, and people thought that was funny, but not funny in the same way that Petnosky was. Wanda did not have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore faded blue dress that didn't hang right and not fit properly. It was clean, but it was clean. It was neat, tidy, but looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls to talk to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in the school yard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch on the worn hard ground. Wanda Peggy would say in the most courteous manner, as though she were talking to Miss Mason. Wanda, that means she was very courteous. Wanda, she would say, give one of her friends a nudge. Tell us, how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? Closet is cupboard. 100. What she will reply? 100. Wanda would say. 100. Exclaimed all the little girls incredulously, disbelieving it, not believing what she said. The little one would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Yea, 100 all lined up, said Wanda. Then her thin lips drew together in silence. What are they like? All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Yeah, all silk, all colors. Velvet too. Yea, velvet too. 100 dresses, Wanda would repeat stolidly. All lined up in closet. And then they would tell her go. And then before she would gone very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. And a great laughter. 100 dresses. Obviously, the only dress Wanda had was blue one she wore every day. So, why did she say she had 100? What a story! How many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs, all lined up in the closet. Cries exaggerated politeness greeted this. No, false politeness. She was making expressions, and then exaggerated is more than what is needed. She was excessively polite, and this was the response of her. Oh no, every pair is different, all colors, all lined up. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Mary, her inseparable friend, were always last to leave. Finally, Wanda would move up the streets, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitching. Hitching is just moving your shoulder, and just as if you are catching something, hitching her shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to the school alone. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children and from bullies. She cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that is a cruel way to treat Wanda?" she would have been very surprised and cruel. But no peer pressure that works when one is making fun all together join the gang to make fun of other. Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody would tell that was a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person. Else why did she had a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. As for Maddie, this business of asking Wanda every day how many dresses, how many hats, and how many this and that she had was bothering her. She was thinking that she was bothering her. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Hand-me-down clothes are somebody passed on to you after using them. Thank goodness she didn't live up on Boggins Heights or have funny name. Sometimes when Peggy was asking Wanda those questions in the mocking and polite voice, Maddie felt embarrassed. Embarrassed, that means shameful about, and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand, rolling them around. She was feeling uneasy. She was anxious about being again and again asked same embarrassing questions to Wanda, saying nothing herself. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda. Exactly, she would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dresses game. This became a sort of game among them. She used to ask, she used to reply about 100 dresses, 60 pair of shoes, and this became everyday custom. But suppose Peggy and all others started in her next. She wasn't as poor as Wanda, perhaps, but she was poor. So Maddie was used to, take it on herself. If they want to play some game, if it is not chosen Wanda, they will mock at her. They will choose Maddie as the next target. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Wanda Petrosky. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad to see. Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Wanda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent-mindedly. 8 times 8. Let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note, because she knew she never would have courage to speak right out to Peggy, to say, "Hey Peggy," or "Hey Peg, let's stop asking Wanda how many dresses she has." No, Peggy was too much dominating, and all her friends were part and parcel of this game. When she finished her arithmetic, she did ask a note to Peggy. Suddenly, she paused and shuddered, shocked. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls, and she herself now pictured herself. She thought herself to be next target by Peggy and other girls if she stopped her from making fun of Wanda. Peggy might ask her where she got the dress and that she had on. Maddie would have to say it was one of the Peggy's old one. Now you can understand that Peggy's dresses were worn by Maddie, and that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise. Now, but Maddie's mother used to, alter them or change some of the decoratives, new trimmings, ornament, put some flowers or beads or alter them, collars or to make them look different. So no one in the room 13 would recognize it. If only Peggy would decide of her own accord, wish to stop having fun with Wanda. Oh well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonde hair, golden hair, as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away. What difference did it make? So slowly Maddie tore into bits the note and she had started. So Maddie wrote a note writing that Peggy, let's stop making fun of Wanda. But she could not muster courage. She could not, that courageous, that daring sort of girl to straight away talk to Peggy about that. Instead, she started thinking negative, that if I pinpoint this to Peggy, she may make my fun and pinpoint that what kind of dresses you wear, because you wear the dresses given by my mother. Although your mother alters them, changes them, or adds some ornamental qualities to it to make it look different. Slowly, Maddie tore into bits the note she had started. She was Peggy's best friend. No, friendship also came in between. Peggy was the best like girl in the whole room. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. No, she was such a confident girl that she thought that I am the best and I cannot do anything wrong. And this misconception she lived with. As for Wanda, she was just some girl who lived up on the Boggins Heights and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was in the schoolyard about the 100 dresses. Maddie remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue with colored trimmings. Trimmings are like frills or decoratives, ornamental things you attach to the dress. And she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. No, sash is a piece of cloth you put across, your shoulder to your waist. You would look like a Christmas tree in that, the girls had said in the pretended admiration. No, pretended admiration, not really admiring it, and they made fun of her, calling it a Christmas tree. Thinking about Wanda and her 100 dresses all lined up in a closet, Mary began to wonder who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest. For girls, this contest consists of designing dresses, and for boys, of designing motorboats. Probably Peggy would win the girls' medal, and Peggy drew better than anyone else in the room. At least that what everybody thought. She could copy a picture in the magazine, some film stars ahead, so that you could almost tell who it was. Oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. They were good friends, so she was favoring Peggy. Well, tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winner. Then they would know. The next day it was drizzling. No, it was not heavily raining, but very little showers were there. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. Naturally, one day, this, they didn't wait for Wanda Petnosky on the corner of the Oliver Street, the street that far, far away under the railroad track. Up the hill led to the Bogans Height. Anyway, they weren't taking chance on being late today because today was important because results were going to be out. So the day was very important. Do you think Miss Mason will announce the winners today? Asked Peggy. Oh, I hope so. The minute we get in, said Maddie. Of course you will win, Peg. Hope so, said Peggy eagerly, excitingly. The minute they entered the classroom, they stopped short and gasped. There were drawings all over the room on every ledge. What is a ledge? Ledge is outer part of the windowsill. Windowsill is a slab on the window. Dazzling colors, brilliant, lavish, grand designs, all drawn on great sheets of wrapping paper. Wrapping, W is silent here. There must have been 100 of them all lined up. These must be drawing of the contest. They were. Everybody stopped and whistled, when you're happy how you react, or murmured admiringly. Murmured as they were, whispering in each other's ear. As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Mason announced the winner. Jack Beggles had won for the boys, and she said, and his design for an outboard motor was on exhibition in the room 12, along with the sketches by all other boys, and they were displayed in the room number 12. A motorboard, sketch. As for the girls, she said, although just 1 or 2 sketches were submitted by most, one girl, and the room 13 should be proud of her, this one girl actually drew 100 designs, and all different, all beautiful. In the opinion of the judges, any one of the drawings is worthy of winning the prize, and I am very happy to say that Wanda Petnosky is the winner of the girls' medal. Now, she is a winner. She is a new winner of the class. Unfortunately, Wanda had been absent from school for some days. Is not here to receive the applause, praises that is due to her. Let us hope she will be back tomorrow. Now, class, you may file around most quietly and look at her exquisite, exceedingly good drawings. The children burst into applause. Even the boys were glad to have a chance to stamp. Stamp is to put your feet on the ground to making noise and put their fingers in their mouth and whistle, though they were not interested in dresses. They got the time to hoot, shout and celebrate. They never lose any chance to celebrate any occasion. Look, Peg, whispered Maddie. There is that blue one she told us about. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, the Peggy said. Say, and here's that green one, boy. I thought I could draw. and she said there is one green one and there is another one, and she is again realizing that I thought I could also draw. She's not, no, losing her heart. She is saying, yes, even I can draw similar pictures like drawn by Wanda. I hope you understood the chapter, and we will come to know, or we will conclude about the chapter in the next part of the story, that is the 100 Dresses Part 2. And we'll know about what happened now in the story in the next video.